Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we explore the urban knife style and jungle survival. Today we've got something really interesting because we are going to explore custom Swiss Army knife modifications that anyone can do. First, if you watch this channel regularly but have not subscribed, please do so to help the channel out. Thanks. What you see in front of you is a collection of different items that can be used for custom modifications for Swiss Army knives, and we will be using all of them and more in this video. I'm sure you're familiar with paracord. Now, Swiss Army knives comes with different scales that you can switch. Some are by Victorinox, some are third party. You can get knife beads, other third party accessories, and I bet some of you didn't even know you can get custom colors for toothpicks and tweezers officially from Victorinox. So I'm going to show you some simple ways you can really make your Swiss Army knife your own. So let's get started. Let's start off with an 84mm Swiss Army knife. This is the Victorinox Bantam. Now, one of the ways to look for a knife that suits your personality and stands out from the rest is to look for scales that are of a different color and not as common. So instead of going with the standard Celador red scales, I've got some black nylon scales here, which are matte, not as common, so it stands out. But we're going to try to make it my own by adding more items inside. And we're going to do so with some paracord. And what I'm going to do is to add a lanyard. That's right, very straightforward. And I'm going to add what is known as a snake knot. Now, you can find tutorials for this lanyard knot on YouTube. So I won't go into great detail, but I'll just briefly explain how to do it. You loop the paracord so that's equal, just like that. And you put that into the keychain. And what you want to do is to remember which side is which, meaning you want to remember which end is which. So in this case, you can see there's a slight discoloration for the left side. That's like a yellow. So I'm going to just remember that. You of course can you can use a Sharpie to make a knot. You can make a cut so that one side is frayed and one side is not. But in any case, take the left side and you're going to cross it over the right and bring it around. So very simple, just cross, bring it around. Then you're going to take the right string, bring it over and bring it inside this knot over here. And then you're going to tighten everything up to form a knot. So this is the basis of the snake knot. And I would always recommend trying to push it up. Not too close. You want to give a bit of a breathing room. I won't put it real tight, but yeah, something like that, just about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And that's the first snake knot. And what you're going to do is you're going to repeat the knot and just build on top of it. One thing you need to remember is which side you started with, and remember that tip I gave you. So just look for the discoloration in my case, and I know that's going to be the left side. And what I do is I cross over, wrap it around. Then you bring the right strand, it comes over and inside this loop, just like that. And then you would tighten it against the first knot, just like that. And you want to make it as tight as possible, so just slowly work it in. And I think we're going to add maybe 2 more knots, and that will be enough for this particular short knife. Now, once you finish the last knot, just make sure it's tight, and you can go ahead and cut off the ends. And what I like to do is just cut it in a slight diagonal. So I'm not cutting it straight. I'm going to just cut it diagonal, kind of near and against the knot on either side. And then take a lighter and just go ahead and melt those ends. And I kind of want to melt it and press it against the rope or the paracord, just so that it seals not just at the ends but also kinds of melts onto the rope, so it becomes a hardened knot. And once you do that, you have got the paracord lanyard, and that's very nice. And 4 knots seems enough for this Bantam. Now if you have a longer knife, of course you can do more knots, maybe 5 or 6 knots, but I think this works. So that adds a bit of color to the Bantam and customizes it for me. I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to use these colored 2 scales, in this case red, to match the lanyard. So it's always good to go with some kind of a color coordination, and that really just makes it even look more aesthetically pleasing. So I'm going to put in the red toothpick and the tweezers, and now I've added a bit of red. So again, a bit of customization, a bit of difference, a very easy and simple mod, but this will never be mixed up with anyone else's knife, and it just feels a bit more personalized for me. Here's another example of non-standard handle scales. In this case, we have the Victorinox Spartan, which is a 2-layer knife, 91 millimeters long, and this comes in the walnut wood scales, which is very nice. And I got it because it's very EDC friendly. It's got the basic tools that I think are very useful, yet it's very lightweight, and this adds a bit of class to the knife. So I was thinking, if I'm going out and I'm wearing dress attire, this would fit very well. So how do you make this different? In a previous video, I showed how you could take a pocket clip, and this is a third-party accessory, and you can actually put it on if you take out the keyring, and you take a small screw and screw on this deep carry pocket clip, and that adds a unique feature. Now, I'm not going to repeat that. You can check out the video in the link in the card above or the description below. Instead, I think I want to add a few items. Let's add an item that's available in some other Swiss Army knives, but not with the Spartan, but you can buy it separately, and that is a small mini driver or optical glass screwdriver, and that is designed to fit in just like that. And again, that adds a difference from a standard issue for the Spartan. But I'm not stopping there. I'm going to add a lanyard again, and I'm going to choose a green lanyard this time. So this is kind of an OD army green, and it's earth tone, so it fits and coordinates with that. But I also want to add a knife bead. In this case, I've got a black stainless steel knife bead, which is pretty neutral and can really add a bit of an accent to this. So what I'm going to do is a snake knot once again, and then I will add the bead at the end. I'll show you how I'm going to do that as I end the knot. Let's start the lanyard first. Now, after doing 3 knots, I'm going to add the knife bead in. And it's very simple. All you do is take the bead and you thread it through both strands of the paracord. Push it all the way snug, and then you're going to do one more snake knot to hold it in place and tie it off. In this version, I'm going to do it a bit differently. I'm going to tie off 2 overhand knots at the ends. So I'm going to have 2 little legs like that. Then I'm going to cut these off and burn the paracord. And there you have, that's the finished result. Quite unique. You've got a knife bead as well as these 2 tails. Very distinct, and definitely another easy way to customize and modify your Swiss Army knife to make it yours. Over here, I've got a very standard Swiss Army knife, at least in terms of look. This is the classic Celador scales, and this is the Victorinox Climber. But I think it's time for a refresh. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the scales on my knife. Now I've got a set of blue scales over here. Now if I just change the scales, sure, I get a refreshed knife, but it's not that customized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one scale from here and change it up with another color, in this case yellow. So I'm going to have a 2-tone Victorinox knife, and I think that makes it a bit more special. So what I'm going to do is take out the tools from the scales over here, and then I'm going to use the can opener from another knife, and I'm going to pry the scales off and put on these scales. And let's do this. And you can see the scales have come off just like that. Now this is a very old knife, bought it in the early 90s, so it's quite grimy, and it's not rusty, but just dirty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some alcohol swabs. I'm going to clean this up first. I also have to kind of remove this. A bit of the old scales kind of broke off with that. So I'm going to clean this off before I put on the new scales. Now you can see it's nice and clean. What I did was use a scoring pad as well as some alcohol swabs, scrubbed it clean, and then used the swabs to just clean it up, and it's now really nice, pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the scales on. Now I might need to use a clamp to try to press it in. So the idea is to get that pin and the bushings into the corresponding holes. And here we have my blue and yellow Swiss Army knife with the scale tools placed back inside. Now it's pretty cool to have a blue and yellow Swiss Army knife, but I think we can go further and customize it to make it really unique. Now, I don't want to add a lanyard again, we already did that. So let's add a keychain this time, but I'm going to go with something with a color theme and something unique. And I've got a 2x3 Lego block, and that's in yellow, and I've got 1x2 plates on top for blue. Now it doesn't match the exact color, but Lego doesn't have this exact blue. So through my data analytics, I found that I have a huge crossover between my knife and Lego audiences. So I thought I'll just marry the two together, and I'm sure this video will skyrocket. So I'm going to take this big key ring off this Lego keychain, and I will place it onto this one. Now I should mention the standard Lego keychain comes with a 2x4 brick, but I thought that was a bit too big for a Swiss Army knife, so I actually changed it with a 2x3 brick. So I did have to unscrew it, drill a hole through this brick, and then rethread this pin that comes with the original keychain. Just thought you'd like to know that. And there you have the finished, customized, modified Lego Swiss Army knife. Truly one of a kind. If you like, you can also buy a minifig keychain and add that on, but I like the classic brick. Alright, let's see what's next. Speaking of changing scales, I swapped the scales of this Victorinox waiter to solid brass ones. These are the original scales. I documented the process, including a set of titanium scales, in a previous video. You can check out the link in the card above or the description below. So this in itself is very unique, but let's take this one step further. I'm going to swap out the tweezers from the standard grey to a black pair. So since I've got now black and then the white tweezers, I think for a lanyard, I'm going to go with a black and white lanyard. And since this is a brass scales, I'm going to use a brass knife bead, and I'm going to put everything together. And here we have the finished customized modification, black, white, and brass. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's do one last one. This is the titanium scales I mentioned earlier, and this is also a Victorinox waiter. And since we have titanium, I'm going to go with zombie green for the other parts, as well as a titanium knife bead, and let's put everything together. And here we have titanium with zombie green. I think that looks really cool. And here we have all the custom modifications for the Swiss Army knives we covered in this video. The black Bantam with red, the wood Spartan with OD green and a black lanyard, of course that double-sided Lego Swiss Army knife, this brass with black and white lanyard and a gold bead, black tweezers, and of course I actually think this is my favorite, the titanium green zombie Swiss Army knife. Now, what do you think of these knives? Which is your favorite, and have you done any of these custom modifications to your own Swiss Army knife? Do let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.